begin tonight with a motion for the minutes from the last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed those minutes and I move for their approval.
Got a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions? Further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I think we got, I put Mr. King first tonight, and he's got.
Keep everybody
And I'm glad, I'll tell you what, I'm glad you're not at the end.
Yes. Me too.
I was looking at this, and I mean,
I know where y'all want to be.
Commissioner Piercy wanted to put all of this on a consent agenda.
Yes.
That's some good thinking.
There's quite a bit. I mean, for the most part, we can, for the brevity of it.
Why
I
don't
can
we
explain
go,
it.
just talk about your two probation and recovery courts report for September, and then the expenditures and collections report, then go into the individual stats.
Okay.
Okay. Let's,
Definitely do that.
so the first thing would be probation and recovery reports.
Okay. So the report we have here
Gives an overview.
gives an overview of everything that'll be presented tonight. So we have our statistics as usual for both of our drug court, DUI, veterans, and mental health court. You can glance through those, but as you see, our numbers are steadily increasing. We're up to 41 in drug court currently. Still the biggest percentage of our abuse is in prescription pain medication, almost half coming in. That is their main drug of choice. In DUI, it's alcohol, but we're up to 47 participants in our DUI court.
Okay, slow down, look, we got it all on one
Oh.
iPad here, so
Yeah,
we gotta keep
four different-
shifting.
Yes.
Okay. DUI.
DUI, you'll see we're up to 47. We had an increase from July of 5 new participants coming in. We had 7 graduate in the month of August. We've had a few new ones come in September, but I think we'll primarily stay between 45 on average going forward. For the most part, everybody's doing well. We're averaging close to a month in all of our programs, right around 700 to 800 drug screens a month we are doing. So that is a cost.
Ready to go down the mental health court staff?
For veterans, or either mental health, either one.
Okay, veterans would be fine.
Veterans, we had 16 participants for the month of August. As you can see, the majority are spread out in phase 2 and 3 and 4. The biggest drug of choice for our veterans is alcohol. Approximately 69% of them choose that. The other drug of choice behind that is marijuana. But on average, our veterans are doing pretty well. We did have one termination. One of the veterans just could not do it, so we did have to terminate him.
Go to mental health.
In mental health, we are steadily increasing. We had 18 participants as of August. Primarily, the drug of choice for a lot of our mental health folks is alcohol, marijuana behind that, crack cocaine, and then our prescription medicine from there. But for the most part, we're very pleased. Unfortunately, this past week and a half, we've lost 2 of our mental health court participants. One to suicide and the other one to a drug overdose in Nashville. He was released from the hospital, and in the night he was released from his mental health psych stay. He overdosed. So we're pretty heartbroken for both of them.
Have they been
real
in your
close to it.
program?
They've been in our program for since March, both of them have. So you get to know them pretty well, and your heart breaks for them. It's a tough population.
Is there any further questions on the stat reports? You roughly have, well, I added up 122 in your 4 programs?
Yes, sir. And we're trying to increase with the new grant coming in, 40 in the coming year, and then 60 each additional year. So we're looking at we want to stay about 200 plus individuals total in all of our programs. That's where we'd like to be.
I just want to interject here. I think when Trey took over as the director, he had there about 40 total in the program.
Yeah. Well, we only had the drug and DUI at that time too, and the DUI was much lower than it is now. And the drug very seldom got up to 40.
So we are trying to increase our numbers and look at ways to go after and to take more people into the program.
Hopefully it keeps on working and
I hope so.
gets them.
Are you staffed appropriately for that jump I mean, I guess that's, you always want help, but to get to your goal, are we comfortable where we at as far as to be able to meet their needs?
Yes, sir.
Without sacrificing anything?
Yes, sir. We could always use more staff. I think with the grant, adding some additional positions, that will help. It does get convoluted when you have counselors that are doing case management. So it'd be nice to have someone that just does specifically the case management piece, and then the counselors can focus on the education and the therapeutic component.
Right.
But we're asking them to do double duty. But they're doing all right.
Yeah. I just, you certainly want to help as many people as you can, but you don't want diminishing return on people doing too much and being spread out so much where it doesn't help the way that we want it to. So that's why I was asking.
Sure. No, I mean, we could always use help, but the problem we have now, the biggest concern, and I've shared this with the deputy mayor and with the Mayor Burgess as well, is space. I am maxed out of space. I have zero space to put any new employees. And with the coming of the grant and the employees that we're going to hire, four to six, they're going to sit on the floor. I don't have anywhere to put them. We can't share our office space because of the HIPAA issues, because when they're meeting with clients, whatever else, the other person can't overhear it if they're meeting with somebody. So that becomes the biggest obstacle. So temporarily we'll have to figure out something.
Well, we're going to have some buildings come open, that may be a possibility, right?
True. But it couldn't come soon enough. That's the biggest issue. So that's why we haven't really asked for a lot of staff, is we just don't have the space requirements.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we go into expenditures and revenues and the amendments, take a motion on the reports then.
Make a motion to approve the reports as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll get on, we send them all over the place. We got the big ones, which are the PDFs of the whole breakdown. You just want to, maybe those two, the expenditures and revenue?
Sure. The easiest report to follow is this
Okay.
page here. It's kind of this. The other two that are in the PDFs, the expenditures and the revenue, is just with backup. It's a backup support documentation to this. So you can see it. You can see where we pull our numbers from. But for the,
That one's the one with PRS in front of it towards the bottom. PRS dash expenditures.
yes, sir. That sounds all right.
Yeah, it is.
That's it. It's green and blue.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, so for the month of August, our total expenditures of probation were $120,089.49. That was an increase from the past month of about $25,000. And the reason for that is our SCRAM invoice that came in for $13,272.20. The good thing with that is our SCRAM cost that the county has to pay out for those individual bracelets will drop by $2 per unit per day. So our costs going forward should be no more than $8,000 or $9,000 a month on average. So we will have a savings there. We've met our obligation as far as the cost to those. We also had some other costs related to our maintenance of our building for the utilities. I think we spent roughly $1,281, and most of that, if I'm not, it was $1,281. No, $1,613. So $1,300 of that is for our air conditioning costs. So that building that we rent is not very friendly, or it's not
Efficient.
yeah, energy efficient. That's the best way. Some days we were at 92 degrees inside that building. The air conditions just cannot keep up. So it gets hot. But eventually we'll figure something out. But that and then drug screens. We had to purchase drug screens for the month, so that's why our expenditures were out. Total collected revenue, just for the probation office alone, was $94,969.52. The total cost with the core cost fines and fees was an additional $132,240.08, for a grand total of $227,209.60 was collected at probation. So you can see that the overall difference was $107,120.11 in the black. So I think we're meeting our goal. Just if you took out the other services that we offer, it would be $25,000 in the red. Pretty much.
Does the owner of your building not pay for any repairs or anything?
They do try to help out, and they have replaced the units a couple times. We've looked at trying to paint the roof to try to help with the sun beat down. It's just a metal building, and there's not a lot of insulation, so that sun just bakes in that building. And then when you have 100+ people in that office space, it heats up quick. But we have box fans to help blow the hot air around, so it helps. I don't mean that sarcastically, but I mean, but it is. It is. But I mean, we may do. In the wintertime, it gets a little chilly, but you know, I think it's okay. There's some. I mean, it's just been that way for a while, so we've grown to love it.
Years ago, I worked at Aladdin Industries, which is no more, but it was in downtown Nashville. And I worked in a part called the Glass House, which made glass thermos bottles. So you had to have little fires going all the time, furnace, and we had this, what you're saying, those fans. Well, we had swamp coolers that blew hot air from from outside inside, and all they did was a lot worse than just box fans doing it. I can empathize with you on that. So we're paying what, that rental is $8,500, is that what it is for that building?
Yes, sir. And they are coming down. I will give the landlord that. They are coming down and doing the best they can. It's just the building itself was not designed well enough to hold that tight.
Well, maybe the deputy mayor can answer this. Is there something that our building, and people, Ben Mankins people, is there somebody there with the expertise that can pick up what's wrong with it? I mean, you know, insulation, and what we can do, and maybe work something out with the guy, the owner of the building?
I know Ben's looked at the building and probably done as much as he can do, and it's really up to the owner of the building.
It's going to be major things. Yeah. How long's their lease on that?
It's I want to say it's month to month,
Oh, okay.
so we can break it at any point, I believe. And then, like we passed our first year, and after that it was month to month, if I'm not mistaken.
And Mayor's fully aware of this, and we have this facility study going on right now, and there's going to be another update to the property management committee in the next couple of weeks. He's trying to, you know, if you know the mayor, he wants to get all the information and make sure that he's got a very solid recommendation before he moves forward with any.
Thank goodness we're working on it. Okay. Any more questions on the financials? Reports? If not, I'll entertain a motion on that.
Make a motion to approve this report.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So now, we got about 6 amendments or something like that, something about liability insurance in there, so.
Well, part of that is, okay, how much one you want to go with first? If you want-
Well, we're showing up at the top, County of Rutherford PDF, which is
C18,
yeah.
so that will probably be this is the reimbursement research sub-award agreement.
Yes.
And what this, in a nutshell, is this is our agreement with MTSU with the grant that the drug court received to expand and enhance, and that's one of the other motions. But this is basically to award them, I think it's roughly $50,000 or $60,000 a year to do their data analysis and research on behalf of the grant. So instead of the department having to do it, we are going to partner with MTSU to handle that component, that piece. And this is just a pass-through money from our federal grant to MTSU.
This is, we had our legal people look at it.
Yes.
The agreement. It's going to need the mayor's signature then.
Yes.
And I'm sure our legal people said it was fine.
To my knowledge, everything has been blessed.
And what you want from us is just the approval with all signatures, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wouldn't it go to budget committee?
We believe because it's a sub-award for the money.
See, I heard the request, it's basically pass through. Need the motion to approve it with any needed signatures. Pass it on to budget.
I make a motion to, excuse me, approve the request as presented with the appropriate signatures and forward on the budget.
Okay, I guess we better call a roll on this.
It's just an agreement and do
Agreement, okay.
affirmation.
All right, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, this is just another agreement to COHP.
Yes. But,
Clinical affiliation agreement.
Tennessee.
yes, University of Tennessee instead of Belmont, because we have two of them.
And this is
This
the
is
first one's
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Okay. This is what the University of Tennessee, what this is we were approached by Belmont University as well as the University of Tennessee in their occupational therapy program and their dean of college. And they have asked if we would accept their occupational therapy students who are getting ready to graduate to work with our mental health court participants, help them with learning how to cook, go to the grocery store, any sort of occupational therapy type of needs free of service. Their goal is to rotate 2 or 3 students on a quarterly basis, year after year. So it is a win-win for us. I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better than that. It's no cost. We just have to provide them space and to work with our folks
Where will this be done?
at the office. So we'll just have to give up in our group room in the afternoon. I mean, that's eventually all this will come together. But I just hate to turn away, services like this. I mean, if we had to pay this in the private sector, I mean, it would be $50 to $100 an hour to work with an occupational therapist.
And a lot of these people have never been associated with it that you get.
And it's a good thing. A lot of folks, we take for granted how to cook a meal, how to turn on a stove, and for our mental health folks that don't have that, knowledge and background. I mean, it's worthwhile for them, and they can learn all those things.
And I see the liability and everything's
Yes, and
it's covered right here.
Yes, sir. And I have ran it through, this one I do know for sure went through the county attorney because he came back some language that he wanted changed in both of the agreements, and I have made those changes according to his memo, and those are incorporated in this document.
I move we approve these agreements.
Same both Belmont and Tennessee?
Belmont and Tennessee.
I think they're same.
They're the exact same. It's,
Okay.
there's no cost. It's just to provide the students.
It's all signatures.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that what the motion said? With
Approve
all
them both,
signatures?
with all signatures.
Okay. All right. Any further questions on it? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the liability insurance just goes along with it.
That was Belmont's liability insurance for their faculty. If any of their students would get hurt on our property, that they have the liability insurance, or if they do anything to a participant.
So is that saying the only thing we have down is
We have 2 left.
Sam? That's,
We have the VTC2 amendment and then the SAMHSA amendment.
okay. You want to do the same amendment first?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
This is the grant that we were awarded from the federal government to expand and enhance our drug court program. This is for the first 9 months of that grant, because their fiscal year is from October to September. So for us, for this budget year, this is for those 9 months, and the total amended requested increase for our budget is $250,141. The majority of that will go for salaries and wages. The other portion will go to MTSU for the research analysis, and the remainder of it goes into drug screens and other services.
This one's federal.
Yes, sir.
It's free gratis. Let's stay on the bullet. Are there any questions about the amendment? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the budget amendment request is presented.
Second. Motion second. Any questions? So we're voting to accept $250,000 with this, the way that it's set up for the budget, and then it'll go on to budget committee?
Well, it's a budget amendment is what I've got.
Yeah. So we better call a roll.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes. We've got the BT, BTC 2. Okay.
And this one is, I was asked by the state earlier this year if we would be interested in allowing them to write a grant on our behalf, as well as several of the other veterans courts throughout the state for additional funding for our program. And of course, I said, sure, any help that we can get would be wonderful. The state was awarded a grant from the Department of Justice for 3 years. Our portion in that is a little over $91,000 each year for the next 3 years. So this will allow us to hire a therapist, a case monitor, as well as some additional materials for the program, for the classes and the groups, as well as drug screen cost, equipment for the employees, and then training expenses. So that's what this $91,000. So this will help beef up our veterans court, because currently all I have is a counselor in there. So this will allow us to have a therapist as well as a monitor to help with that program. Because right now I'm having to tax my drug court and DUI court therapists to do the therapy work.
And this is for the 9 months, for the rest of this.
This is just for this, yes,
fiscal
sir.
year.
And then the remainder we'll add on to it. But it's either we use it or we lose it.
Let's see what they're all listed for. Are there any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve this budget amendment request, go on to the budget committee.
Second.
Motion is second. No further questions? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes. That covers it.
That covered. I have one last thing. I know the crowd wants to kill me. But I did receive a call this weekend from one of the commissioners asking about calls because of the PCC lawsuit that's come out, wanting to know if their constituents are calling them about questions, what to do with the PCC lawsuit. Josh McCreary has advised that everyone is to direct all of those individuals to the plaintiff's lawyers. And I have a phone number to give to them. If y'all need that, I can email them to you. or I can give it to you.
Email, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll email it to everybody. But that way, maybe easier, you can just cut and paste it, send it on if there's any questions. But that's the only answer I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. Sheriff's. I thought the previous sheriff would come back and maybe as long as that one was.
We'll be shorter.
We'll see how this looks, so we're not out of whack.
I think it's just the budget number request.
There's a
It's
couple
on
on
there.
this
We only
on
have
the
one if you had
one.
more.
What?
How many do you have?
Got three.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all here.
oh, they're all on one, okay.
Now, two are
Okay.
pertaining to the jail, if you want me to do, can we do them together?
Believe we can, can't we? Yeah.
Okay.
When we get into the other special purpose funds and this, we can do together.
Yes. I was unaware of a vocational training we're doing. And I should have got more money for this out of the greenhouse fund last month, and I didn't. So I'm asking for the $5,000 from the unassigned funds to put into that $499 for fixing up the two other greenhouses we have. And then the second one, we have our final bill for Mudd Medical Services. And we're having to take money out of unassigned fund balance to pay his indirect and off-site cost. And that's $234,178.
And this is one at the budget time that we knew was coming.
Yes,
When
sir.
it got all, when the fiscal year.
He has a
Right, it goes against.
audited,
Go ahead.
well, audited financial person do this, and the mayor gets copies, and we get copies.
We get copies, everybody gets copies.
Yeah.
you know. This comes about every year at the end of the fiscal year, then we get the overage over.
And the last one is the drug fund, right?
That's the drug fund.
So we need a motion on these first two.
Make a motion to approve the first two budget amendments as requested and pass on to budget.
Well, technically, we could have taken the greenhouse money that was in the unassigned and put it over into that medical, right? It's not enough of that upon it, and I guess your greenhouse would probably help.
And this is a drug fund money.
Well, they got to vote on
I'm
it.
sorry.
Go ahead,
Getting
call
ahead of
roll,
everybody.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes. Now, the one from the drug fund.
We're gonna put $4,000 into the vet services. We had a dog break a shoulder, and it was for elbow, elbow. And it was a little pricey, not too much, but we needed some funds to cover it without depleting our other general fund account.
Confidential, I assume you can put it for veterinarian services.
canine
It's a
unit.
canine unit for
Okay.
use for, yes, sir.
Okay, the day use, okay. You heard the request.
Make a motion to approve the request as presented and move it to the budget committee.
Second.
Motion is second, further questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes. Okay, from the patrol side, is there anything on the, it's all online for right now? Okay, same thing for the jail, food?
Food's
Okay.
Food's going well. Doing well.
Okay. Y'all want to take a minute on the report? Any questions?
Good to see you got some hay donated.
Nice, and
Yeah.
it really does help us. And he's done that for several years. It's feels like that's his work. He wants to do that.
If you look at the report, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If not, we'll take a motion.
Are the meals still being prepared at the jail, or are they being brought?
They're being prepared at the jail. What we did, if you remember back, we bid that and contracted out, but everything's being prepared at our facility, for our facility. Then the workhouse, they prepare there for there in juvenile at the workhouse.
Make the motion to approve the report.
I'll second that.
Have a motion a second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we've got two grant requests.
Yes.
Okay, the first one, Firehouse Sub-Grant, is a $25,000 grant. There's no match. And what this is for a throw phone system that we use in crisis negotiation. The present one that we're using is about 20 years old, so it's seen its useful life. And estimated that the cost of $24,211. The deadline's November 30th.
This is one you can take out in the field.
It's take it in the field, and actually what we do is we actually throw them through a window or whatever to negotiate with someone who's barricaded. And so it's made for that purpose. And if we're not able to establish communication, then we throw that in there to try to establish communication with them.
And I can attest, having used the old one, it is well done.
It's well worn, and
Gotten use out of it for the last 20 years, right?
we'll let you have it after.
Throw it in his window.
Yeah, we'll throw it through his window, there you go.
You fix it.
Fix it first, okay. Yeah, fix the window, yeah, okay.
Any further questions? Okay, we'll entertain a motion. Well, we'll take them both together, okay?
This one here is a grant. It's for 35 Motorola radios for $260,500, and then 35 radio earpieces for $2,100. And this is a grant to improve courtroom security, provide safe and secure facilities, and conduct business and duties of the court. And we feel like that this request will meet the requirements of this grant, so we'd like permission to try to secure this grant. Now, there is a 10% match required on this grant, which would be, what was it, $26,260. So if we're successful with the grant, it would be a $262,600 grant for $26,000 match. And what this is, obviously, is for the new courthouse, because of the floors and everything. This type of radio will give us better coverage to be able to penetrate through the floors better than what we've got right now.
You heard the request?
I move for approval of this grant.
Second.
Motion a second. This is put in for it, right?
This is just to put in for it, that's correct.
We went in, we'll come back for signatures.
If it's approved, then we'll come back.
Yes. It sounds good. I hope we have a good chance of getting it.
It would be great.
Okay. Further questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
I've got one question.
Okay?
When a school or a college or any type of organization has an event that requires blockage of a county road, who gives them that authority? Who says it's okay? Nobody.
Most of the requests that I've ever seen that comes through the mayor's office.
Comes through the mayor's office.
That I'm aware of, even down here on the square where we block off.
So it has nothing, they don't ask the sheriff's department or anything?
I've not had that request come to me directly. No. I'm not saying it didn't come through us, but I've not had that request come to me directly.
What, MTSU had a 5K, 10K run, walk, ride a bicycle
Okay.
out on Browns Mill Road, Guy James Road, Craddock Road, Saturday. And there were a couple of deputy cars, maybe 3, out there helping block traffic. And of course, they had a lot of students and vehicles blocking
Okay,
traffic.
that did come through our patrol
Okay.
division, yes, it did.
Is there any way we could require them to put up signs to notify the community 2 or 3 days
Prior.
prior to this happening?
I think that'd be
Because it
reasonable.
caused a huge conflict and a
Mhm.
lot of calls. And most of the people would have been okay
If they
if they
knew.
had known about it. But we had contractors trying to get to work, couldn't get through, people trying to get home. And you know, if they had known, they could have probably worked around every obstacle. But when you come out in the country and block a road, that really does upset people. Especially if they don't run or ride a bicycle. So, that's just-
For the half marathon, they
No, I
put
wouldn't do that. That's
signs
reasonable.
well
Good deal.
Very
several
reasonable
days in
request.
Good
advance.
deal.
Yeah, but you seem to tell, okay.
But I think that did come through our patrol division, so, on that one.
All right. Anything else?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Good?
Good evening. You have before you my report that end of August stating that we had 24 work-related injuries requiring medical attention. As you can see, you can read the breakout there. That brings us to a total of 138 for the calendar year. 83 of those are OSHA recordable. 37 had restricted days, 18 lost days, and 28 all others. This year compared to 2 previous years, we've had 138 this year, 130 the same time last year, and 123 in 2015. So we're running a little bit higher than what we have in the 2 previous years. Just like to remind you, we've also had a new school open up this year and some additional employees hired, so it's pretty much online. As far as the incurred dollars, we're a little bit higher than what we have been in 2 previous years. You can see we're at 495 compared to 337 and 314. Basically, that goes back to one injury that occurred in May. Of the claims for this month of August, the total incurred dollars were $40,855. Board of Education had 10 of those injuries for $4,900 as far as incurred. The county general had 14, and that just came in just under 36,000 at 35,955. And the last page of your report breaks down those claims for the county general through the sheriff, ambulance department, maintenance, and juvenile detention.
It's $490,000 for the Board of Education. Is that all medical expense?
For the Board of Education, that includes the medical treatment and any lost time wages paid out. Or any other expenses, maybe, well, of course, there's diagnostic expenses, and if there's any research or anything that has to be done on an individual claim, it allocates any kind of fees to that also.
Ones with the sheriffs, did they occur at the jail, or most of them, the incidents this last month?
No, not all of them, no. They're also patrol injuries.
Further questions?
Yeah, I got a question. It might be for both of you. On the ambulance, there was 2 claims. Can you tell us what went on to cause them injury? I mean, like, is it the stretchers?
No, but I believe that both of those, sorry, Adam, if I'm wrong, but I believe both of those were lifting injuries. And, we have, through a grant, actually, we have the electric stretchers going down. well, we got to get them onto the stretcher.
Okay.
And so a lot of times it's a lifting, bending, stretching, and
Twist.
yeah, and it, we give them back schools and
Okay.
things like that. And what happens is you can do very good back mechanics until you get into a car and you're lifting somebody out, twisting and turning all at the same time. And that's just a hazard of the job.
Well, I was just wondering if there was something we could provide to prevent those
I
in the
think,
future.
I think that we're doing all that we can with the electronic stretchers now. Those
Okay.
are great, but,
Great, good.
we're not having the lifting stretchers up and
Right.
down and that kind of thing, because it's all done with the DeWalt battery pack. believe it or
Right.
not, but it's all done with that, and most of our ambulances now have that, and it's been really nice.
Okay, great. Glad to know.
But just because of the nature of the beast,
Yeah.
moving people in and out of cars and twisting and bending, I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, both of those were back.
Well, let us know if there's something we can
Sure.
do to prevent these, because the cost in paying out here might offset what we can get for you.
Sure, thank you.
That's it.
Further questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the report as is.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do you want to just mention, for all, I guess all the county employees have heard enough, gotten enough info about October 13th and the
Open enrollment is coming, and that's for all county employees. Make sure that they sign up. They should be getting some things in the mail. I think there's been an initial contact, kind of like a small card that's come in the mail to all the county employees. They'll be getting their packets here in the next week or so. Of course, now, if employees are not getting the packet, they need to go back and check and make sure their address is correct with the payroll department, because we get the addresses from the payroll department. And sometimes people move during the year, they don't update their address, and because we hand out W-2s or something like that, they don't bother to update the address because they get that. So, but these are mailed directly to them. It does open up and then it closes on the, I believe it's the last Monday of the month, the 30th, the 31st, I forget what day that is. But, and then of course, that's what you'll have as far as medical benefits and other benefits for next year. So that all starts January 1st, but open enrollment starts October 13th.
October 13th.
Third.
Third.
Pardon?
October 1st, open enrollment.
No. The open enrollment starts then, what you were
Yeah.
saying, yes.
Yeah. And the 13th is the health fair, right?
Oh, the health fair, I'm sorry, yes. The health fair also is coming up. That starts just before that. The health fair is going to be out at the Agwood Lane Park, and they can also get the drug testing done out, or drug testing. Flu shots. Flu shots out there along with some other test things that they provide. I'm sorry. I don't deal too much with the flu shots, so I get.
So you don't get one?
No, I do get one, but
Got him confused there.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, have a good evening.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Gregory?
For the month of August, we had 746 animals come into the shelter. You can see at the bottom of that first page, our live release rate for our dogs was 86.5%. Our cats were 83.4%, which gave us an overall live release rate of 83.7%. Our euthanasia rate crept up just a little bit. We've been in the single digits, but we were at 10.8%. But we've still not done a euthanasia for space since April the 1st. Those were all medical or behavior reasons. And 95 cats went out through our TNR program. Second page shows you our activity stats. We had 1,907 calls received, 1,926 calls completed. I did see where I failed to put in the percentages there at the bottom. And we traveled 12,000 930 miles. Nothing unusual regarding our year-to-date. Live release rate overall for the year is 83.6%. On the rabies exposure and bite report, it was a call, this goes by calendar year, not fiscal year. We had 38 bites reported for the month. 3 of those were tested, none returned positive, and 7 other exposures, 2 of those tested, again, none returned positive.
Questions? On your live release and everything, where is that occurring mostly? Well, I'm sure it's in the cities.
Well, it's back in the general vicinity of where the animal was picked up, unless if a person's adamant it cannot come back there. However, we try to educate them that if we do remove that animal, something else is going to come back in if we don't bring it back. We do have a lot of folks that, now that they've learned the program, when we do pick up a cat from them, they say, please make sure it's DNR and brought back here. So we're seeing that quite often. Overall, everybody's been pretty pleased with that. Of course, the staff's super happy because, like, for this month, for instance, there was 95 cats that previously we would have no option to euthanize.
If there's no further questions, we'll entertain a motion on the report.
Motion to approve the report is presented.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Ambulance service.
Well, Mike is feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I got the call. And he showed me the results from what those were. One was a wasp sting outside one of the stations.
Okay.
We took care of that. And then the other one was a hand caught in between a brick wall and the ambulance door. And it just kind of bruised the hand. She's fine. Okay. Really, there's not a whole lot to report. We had 3,139 calls this month, and it's nothing for us to have, 110 call days now. And so, we're getting busier and busier. Before I do any of the rest of this, I want to thank the commissioners that came out to see our station the other day. We appreciate that. And it's a nice place to work, and our guys are loving it. And we do have 2 full-time ambulances there all the time now. Some commissioners asked me about that, and I wasn't sure, but we do have 2 full-time units there now. Okay, and I think the biggest thing is our percent of collections. Our projected yearly collections is over $1 million more than we had last year at this time. And not only that, but we're up to 76% on those collections. And you guys know that wanes and falls and that kind of thing, but I think we're on top of the wave with 76%. That's more than most of the counties around us have. Everything else is just how the ambulances are running, that kind of thing. And then the next page is our in-services and training, and we're pretty active in that, and our special events and standbys and covering community like the Red Dot program, those types of things. That's all here. And then we have a breakdown of SORT, Special Operations Team. In fact, the next couple of pages are a breakdown on the types of calls, or the next page is a breakdown on the type of calls that SORT has. Now, as soon as we finish with the report, I'd like for the supervisor of our SORT team to give us a rundown on the Texas stuff, if that's okay with you guys. Okay? All right?
Any questions on the report?
Just have one question, and this occurred, I guess, Saturday for the Eagle Festival. The ambulance that's in that station out there at Eagle, as soon as the ambulance in that station got called out and was gone, they had a need for an ambulance right there in that festival.
Typical, yes.
And just, for your information, for next year, if any way possible, see if we can keep an ambulance
We do.
for that festival as much as possible.
Right, we do special events all the time. If the people who are in charge of the event will call us, we'll work something out with them to make sure that we have teams there.
Yeah.
And we could also station an ambulance there.
Yeah, we might want to work with that next year.
I think
but
that's a great idea, because then
Y'all
you're
didn't get
gonna
the call, but I
something.
got the call.
I bet.
Because I walked up about that time when they were looking for somebody.
And they do have to request it.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to justify keeping an ambulance where there might be a call versus making a call right down the street. So
I think that might be a good, something we need to look at and see what we
it's a
can
pretty
do
big
there.
festival now, too.
Yeah,
so.
it's gotten fairly large, and Saturday was very hot, and this was a diabetic situation, and they had to wait to get somebody there.
Right.
And
So I think,
if we get maybe a team or something there, that would be good.
right, maybe a medical tent, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Just have the
that'd be good.
organizers give us a call next year,
Okay?
and we'll see what we can work out.
If not, I will call.
That'd be great.
That'd be good.
Okay.
I notice your response time is down.
It is down, and I think there's two reasons, actually. We put on that day crew.
Right.
So
They
that they're
respond
working
quite
from
a bit.
8 to 8, right? And so they're jumping probably 10 or 15 calls a day, so that zone ambulance stays in zone. And so we're, and plus we added that Burton Street crew. And so I think that's why you're seeing those response times come
Really
through.
glad to see that.
Yeah, me too.
We had the motion, didn't we? Did
And we're still not done.
I don't have a motion on
No,
the
we don't
report.
have
I move to approve the report.
Second.
Got a motion, a second now. So I guess Commissioner Reed snuck in there. Okay. Any further questions for the EMS? All right. All in favor of approving the report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Evan?
Hey, I just want to give you guys just a brief report. We were able to send 3 personnel to Texas for Hurricane Harvey. And so we teamed up with the Murfreesboro Fire Department, and we basically formed what they call a Type 1 Swiftwater team, that's the highest type of Swiftwater team you can send. And you have to have a certain amount of equipment and trained personnel and things like that. So we teamed up with them, and we sent these guys down for about 7 days. They left on Wednesday. They came back the following Tuesday night, got back at midnight. They ended up, initially went to College Station and got briefed there. They went to Fort Bend County, Texas, and ultimately they ended up in Houston, near where the Houston Fire Academy would be. They were part of a larger task force from Middle Tennessee, which comprised about 100 personnel total. And so once that big task force got to Texas into Houston, they basically were given assignments, and one of their assignments were to basically cover an area that had about 3,000 people that, a lot of these people have decided to shelter in place. They didn't evac from their area. And so they would go into these areas and go in and remove people that had initially stayed there, but then had changed their mind once they lost electric and noticed that the water wasn't going to go down and things like that. So they were able to go in and make several evacs and things like that. Something else I wanted to say was I just wanted to thank all you guys, because you're part of our support system, along with the mayor, Mike Nunley, and what I'm getting to is that it kind of takes a village. For us, it's just to send our 3 personnel. We had several team members that wanted to go but couldn't, because we just don't have the backfill and things like that. But our other team members agree, say, hey, we'll work in their spots if we send them. And also, when we send people out and equipment out, we also call other departments. Of course, Larry got the phone call, say, hey, we're going to send some guys out. He might help us cover calls. Same thing with Murfreesboro Fire Department, things like that. And so anytime we get called to go to a disaster or a response, a lot of the departments here in this county and in the cities, we all get together and make sure there's plenty of personnel and equipment here if we're going to send equipment and things like that. So
I might want to add that we sent a sustainment trailer along with them, and that sustainment trailer will basically have them operating for at least 96 hours, probably more than that for just that amount of people, but 96 hours. It has sleeping bags and bunks and all that kind of stuff. And the other teams were extremely jealous because they were sleeping under pavilions, and our guys were sleeping in an air-conditioned tent when they were Texas.
That is a great asset.
Absolutely.
I've worked with that also, and it's a great asset, and you know, I'm really proud of our county that we have gotten to a point since 2010 that we can not only support our county, and as you said, all the departments, different departments are so well-trained that they're working together, that we can still feel comfortable, because we had some impending weather that might possibly impact Tennessee. It didn't materialize, but here at any rate. But we were comfortable in going and helping other people and knowing that we could take care of people in Rutherford County. And that's a great place to be.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good evening.
Texas
Yes.
A while ago,
Good, how are you?
We have my report. A few things we've done this past month. We've done a lot of planning for what's about to happen in this month. We have a few events. Plus, we did some training as far as hazmat awareness, again, with the sheriff as part of their in-service training. We also, like I said, have various meetings and planning sessions for what's about to come up. Our upcoming events, starting tomorrow, we're teaching intermediate instant command system class for a couple of days, primarily to an audience from Smyrna and Laverne Public Safety. Then we roll into, we have another exercise planning meeting for one that's coming up at the end of the month. Without the cameras, I'll tell you what's going on, because the agency is an outside agency that we're assisting, and they prefer to make it no notice. So you'll see us on there, but we are continuing to plan with them. Then we're going to roll into another instant command system, class 400, which is the advanced instant command, the 10th and 11th of October. And on the heels of that, we're going to conduct some Salamander training, which is an accountability software that we're working with Rutherford County and Murfreesboro Fire on. The big event that we're getting ready for is, of course, our local emergency planning committee meeting at the Lane Ackert Park at 2 p.m. on the 18th. You're all welcome to come to that as well. And like I said, there's that exercise. As far as responses, I don't want to jinx us. We did go out on 3. All of them were spills. All of them were well contained with no issues at all with that. And actually, all subject to your questions, that's my report.
I see it here about the one on Walden Road. It was coming out of co-op.
Yeah, that was that
Shut the road down. there
Yes,
for
it
a
did,
while.
because he had a hydraulic breakage of some sort at the co-op and continued on the road for about a mile before he stopped, so that caused them to have to shut the road down and, of course, clean the road. So.
But it didn't get out on the portion of it.
No, sir. And the co-op actually is paying for that cleanup.
When we do, training, if it's out-of-county people coming in, they pay a fee for that. Is that correct?
No, because the type of training we're giving is TEMA-provided training. We don't pay anything for it other than our time to do it. I think for the class that we're about to start tomorrow, there's only about 4 people from out of counties primarily, and that's the way I gauge it. The public safety leaders will come to me and say, hey, we need these certain classes, we're getting to where we need them again. And really, this is like bread and butter, the 300 and 400 for instant command. They all need to have it. So they'll come to me and we'll get one together. In this case, it was Smyrna Fire said, hey, we're getting to where we need one. Can we do 300 and then a couple weeks later do a 400, which is what we're agreeing to do. It comes in, and then others will have other folks available, because you can't send everybody that's on the shift, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
And likewise, when we go out of county personnel,
we don't
pay either.
Now, if somebody needs to stay in a hotel room, that's on them.
I thought it may have something to do with because we're in the same, what, federal group, so to speak, or from that, for
No.
homeland security type stuff, that we may do it for free?
No, it
Just helps everybody.
we do it, yeah, we all do them. I mean, I've sent people to other counties when we didn't have something scheduled, just the way it works out. And like I said, we don't pay anything for this other than my time and Tim Hooker's time to do the instruction.
Okay. Further questions for TK? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report is presented.
Second.
A motion is second. No further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, what a picture that hydraulic oil down.
That's what I'm sitting there reading, I'm sitting there reading that.
Wow.
Down here.
All right. You just give that number. Okay. All right. I hadn't seen that far. Farley?
Good, you?
Doing good.
Year-to-date for fire and rescue, we've had 57 structure fires so far this year. One mobile home fire, 37 motor vehicle fires. We ran 1,927 medical calls year-to-date. We've had 275 MVAs with injuries, 227 MVAs without injuries, and 28 of those were extrications. For a grand total, for our department, 3,778 calls. Our total call volume last year was a little less than this for the whole year, so we're already passing our call volume for the whole year last year. Just for the last month, we've had 3 structure fires, 1 a mobile home fire, 5 vehicle fires. We ran 248 medical calls, 32 MVAs with injuries, 35 MVAs without injuries, and 3 of those were extrications, and for a total of 478 calls for the month. Next page is the rundown of the county-wide departments, including the volunteers. I didn't receive a report from Mountainville or Eagle on their water training side. We had to pull their runs off the reporting system. But we had a grand total of 4,600 calls county-wide, 75 structure fires, 46 brush fires, 64 vehicle fires, and 666 MVAs, with 34 of those being extrications. And this also includes the extrication that SORTS provides and goes to in their area. Training hours were 6,931 hours. And then the next page is the structures that we've had damaged that we sent a report to the County Codes Department.
And we had some, a structure fire, a couple of them pretty close to another county, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of them this past month, they're arson. Were they structures with nobody in them, or?
You talking about on the last page?
One at Mount Herman, and yeah, other Fosterville, Short Creek.
There has been some suspicious fires, yes.
Were all of them people living in, or were they
I think the
barns, or?
I think the Barlow Lane was and Mount Herman Road was, but I think the Fossil Short Creek Road was a vacant structure. The last report is the fire investigation summary showing the results of those fires and the cause of the fire and where the case is. And also, I'd like to inform you all that September 1st, our department went, with the help of EMS, we provide ALS and BLS, which is advanced life support and basic life support on our engines. We have paramedics and EMTs, advanced EMTs on our trucks. That came in very handy Saturday night. If you've seen the paper reports, there was 4 teenagers on Compton Road that were struck broadside by a SUV, and we We flew 2 patients out and 2 went by ground. One of them had expired by the time we got to the hospital. But I say all that to say that because our first arriving engine had a paramedic and 3 EMTs on there, so we automatically started working on 1 patient or 2 patients before the ambulance ever got there. And of course, when they come in, that just provides more hands-on with the patients, more treatment. And I was really proud of the way they went into action and did their job, and the way we worked seamlessly with EMS. But that's out in there, especially out in the Walk Hill area, that with the nearest station being Siegel, that puts paramedics and EMTs in that area pretty quickly. So that's something I'm really proud of that we've accomplished.
You said an SUV hit them broadside?
They were going westbound toward 231 from Las Casas. They turned on Emory Road, and at that time of the day, the sun was right in their face as they went up the hill. When they made that turn, SUV come over the hill and broadside them. And it was an Infiniti car. We had to extricate the passengers, 3 of them out of the car. So we had to cut the car. And then we landed 2 Life Flight helicopters in the field next to the scene and flew them out. But it makes a big difference to have guys on the scene that quick providing medical care, especially advanced life support like that with the paramedics. So we're and as you see, our medical calls increased just like EMS, but it makes a big difference, especially out in the rural areas, when you have that type of response out there. So I'm very proud of the job they're doing. And that completes my report. Unless you got any questions?
Questions? Want to entertain a motion on the report?
Motion to approve it.
Second.
No further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks,
Have a
sir.
good evening. So we're saving the best for the last 2 tonight, right?
All right, so you have in front of you our reports for the month of August. And just as a reminder, the counties that showed at the bottom of the first report, they do still owe, but usually what happens is by the time I come up here, the checks haven't come in, and then in the next couple of days they do. So we don't ever really get too concerned about the counties who haven't paid that check from the last month's bill. And everybody is up to date and on schedule for payment. And beyond that, if you have any questions, I'll happily answer them.
Coffee County must have had several in.
They did have a big month.
How many counties do we take children from?
We are up to, just did this the other day for OIT. They are updating a video that we have that we send out. I think we're up to 34 counties. And then we still have U.S. Marshals and INS.
STD stats are a pretty high percentage. I really want to. That's 20% tested positive of the 14-year-olds. That's the way I read it.
An overall positive % of 18.
Sumner County has been sort of busy too.
Their judge has always been good about understanding the importance of public safety, so he uses this frequently.
And the figure on the rap sheet, I guess you're looking at, that for the year totals?
That is just for this fiscal year,
Okay.
so starting in July.
Further questions for Ms. Duke? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report as presented.
Second.
Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Correctional Work Center.
Evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Doing well. How are you all?
Good.
My report consists of our board meeting minutes from the 11th, our statement for the state litter pickup, the Work Center yearly activity report, work release activity report. No significant changes on any of those. We've had no significant changes in the budget, no amendments. Our population's staying right around 160 to 170. Work release is full.
What happens with the National Institute of Corrections here?
We're hosting one of their classes.
Oh, that's a class.
So it's a week-long
Okay.
class, started this morning, actually. It's a jail behavioral management class, and we're hosting it there. We've got people from Louisiana and Colorado and all over the state.
So one more thing about the Dr. Rutt. You don't have a budget amendment for that to come somewhere?
No, so that comes out at the end of every year.
Yeah. I think, didn't we have one from the Sheriff's Department? That's why I was wondering.
I don't think they've,
Do they know?
I don't think they're ready for it yet. I know this came up in our monthly meeting.
Okay. It says he was one and may have taken the other one first. Okay.
Generally, you also have a healthier population at the correctional work center.
And it's smaller,
Medical
too.
Requirements, yeah, a little smaller.
Yeah. But I just know we got the one in it is September, but the other one might have been done later, after, okay?
And unfortunately, if we have someone who goes out with chest pains, it's automatically going to be $10,000 with most of the testing.
Mr. Reed here was inquiring about where was the Murfreesboro County line located. He asked me, and I don't know.
It's on the state litter pickup letter.
I don't know. I will definitely have.
I'm a county city.
I'm sure that's. No, it's.
Have we gone metropolitan?
Rutherford County line. I'm sure I'll have Miss Diane take a look at that.
Well, it could be from Murfreesboro City to Cannon County is probably where it is.
He's a forward thinker.
Yeah.
That's right. Always looking to the future.
Are there any further questions? We need a little humor, Rick.
Oh, yeah. We're all about it.
Yeah, okay. If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any? You have anything, Deputy Mayor? Anybody have anything they want to add? Okay. We are adjourned.